Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe and Big Shot Rob back in action, breaking down all of the ESPN top 10 lists of all positions heading into this season for Major League Baseball. Obviously, one of the cool ones is left field, center field, and then right field. The outfield as a core, they broke them all down into the top 10 at each respective position. Now, Rob, the first thing I want to ask you before we get into the nit and grit of all of them is which position in the outfield has the best core of top 10 players?
I think, Joe, as of right now, is right field because it's kind of strong from top to bottom. Center field, you have Mike Trout, Andrew McCutchen, and then it slowly drops. You have Carlos Gomez in that, but then it slowly drops and goes on decline. Even left field, too, but you go right field, you start off Giancarlo Stanton, you end with George Springer of the Houston Astros. And you know what? I think that's a really tough outfield right there.
It is. I mean, I think I have to agree with him. I mean, when you got Giancarlo, Batista, Puig, Harper, Hayward, Braun, Carlos Cargo, Hunter Pence, I mean, my goodness, that is, and then Matt Kemp at 9, that's just terrific. I mean, here's the weird thing, though, Rob, is I don't know if I like the placement of some of these. I like Hayward a lot, but is Hayward really number 5?
Oh, most definitely not, Joe. You remember when he came up with Atlanta,
yeah,
his rookie year, he really showed that he could be something big.
Hit a home run, his first at bat.
Yeah, hit that home run. Everybody was like, wow, he's the next big star, and then slowly declined. BJ and Justin came to the team, continued to decline. I mean, yes, you know what? He's in St. Louis now. He's going to be playing for a contract. And, I mean, the thing is, I don't know if he's going to be that great of a fit, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. St. Louis is always a great team, but I just don't know if he's going to fit in too well, adapt well to that climate over there.
I think it's interesting. I mean, maybe a fresh start is good for him, but I don't know. There's something a little worrisome about that drop-off, especially, I mean, the way he started and the way things have gone recently. Maybe a fresh start is good, though. Here's the one I have to ask you about as a Dodgers fan, though, Yasiel Puig. I mean, when we watched the first half last year, Puig was just terrific. He was outstanding. Then we get to the second half of the season. Much different story. It's almost funny, Rob. I remember in the summer I watched almost every Dodgers game, but watching a series where they played the Giants, and they swept the Giants, and Puig was fantastic during that 3-game series. I mean, he was just, they couldn't stop him. I think he had a game where he had 3 doubles, he had 2, he was unstoppable. After that, the guy couldn't hit a lick. He disappeared. I mean, I think he was hitting 192 at one point. He is awful. What's going to happen with Yasiel Puig this year? Is Matt Kemp being gone good for him at all?
No, I think his numbers still will drop, Joe. He is just an arrogant baseball player, hands down. As a fantasy owner, I'm going to say this. I don't even want to see him on my team ever again for the next couple years because you know what? Such a disappointment. I started off so hot last year. I took him in the 3rd round, and he just fell apart. I mean, we look at him overall, Joe. He's a great ball player. But some of his decisions, what are you thinking at times where he'll throw the ball away, let runners advance on the bases, and it's just pure common sense as a professional baseball player. I mean, yes, you know what? I'll give it to him. He's had a rough life, Joe. Coming to the United States has been rough, but you have to waken up at sometimes. You know, you're on a really great team. You're at a time where this team should have a championship or 2 by this time already with Clayton Kershaw, with the dominant pitching staff they have, and it's just sad. I really don't like him. I don't see him as a top 10. I mean, yes, top 10, but not top 3 whatsoever.
I like him a lot. I just think he's got to figure it out in his head. I think that's the biggest thing that worries me about him is because we have seen so many flashes of his greatness. But again, there's those little things every now and a while, making not the best decisions. I don't know. There's always those little things that worry you about Puig, but I think the talent there is undeniable. Let's go to Joey Bats, though. Number 2, Joey Bats. What do you think of him at 2?
I still like him at number 2, Joe. I mean, he's still been consistent. When he had his breakout year where he hit over 50 home runs, he's continuing it. I mean, he's gone down, but he's still that guy who gives you 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, and plus he has more protection in his lineup with Josh Donaldson, Encarnacion, Russell Martin coming over. So you know what? I still keep him as my number 2.
Me too. I like Joey Bats a lot. I think just it's been the healthy. I mean, he had battled the injuries a little bit the last 2 seasons, but he's shown you what he is. He's what he's transformed into. He's a lot of fun to watch. Now, the guy I think is the most undervalued in this list is Matt Kemp at number 9. Kemp at 9, I don't know. I just think, look, was he great all of last year? No. But in the second half of the season, he was the Dodgers' offense. The Dodgers, everyone just seemed to forget how to hit in the second half, except for Kemp. I can't tell you how many games they won because he was the only one who was hitting. Is he a little bit undervalued at 9 here?
No, I think he's where he should be.
You like him at 9, okay.
Yeah. My reason for this, Joe, is we go back. Remember the trade reports at San Diego about the 2 bad hips? And you got to put that into point. How long are his hips going to last? Because, the hips are a really vital part to your body. I mean, I could even say with my father with his 2 hip surgeries. But, I mean, once they go bad, you're really in pain, and it's tough to come back from an injury like that, to come and play baseball, especially from hip replacement.
It is, and look, I can't ever get rid of his 2011 season where, I mean, look, I thought he was robbed of the MVP from Ryan Braun. I really felt that he had, I mean, look at his numbers. He had 126 RBIs, 39 home runs. He had, 115 runs, looking for how many stolen bases he had, but, I mean, look, he just did everything that season. I mean, he was just unstoppable. Oh, he had 40 stolen bases. So, look, can he ever reach that again, Rob? That 2011 form, or are these hip injuries going to keep him from ever getting to that form again?
Yeah, they're going to prevent him. I'm sorry, there's no way to put up that year he had. That year was just... You just sat back and were like, wow, this guy is just pure amazing. Hits home runs, ribbies, scores runs, steals bases, but we won't be seeing that again. I mean, on the list, Joe, a lot of people would say, yes, we want him over Ryan Braun. But I've heard reports of last season that Braun actually had something, I forget if it was his thumb or one of his fingers, and he really couldn't grip the bat too great. I mean, he played through it last year. But expect his numbers to be back up to where they should be this year. That's what I would say coming into this season. Because, when you have a hard time grasping the bat, you're not going to be putting up the extreme numbers. He's had a hard time since that whole scandal with the steroids and everything. But, I mean, expect his numbers back to probably 30 home runs, 100 RBIs this year.
I hope not. I still can't forgive him for the steroid thing. But that's a different subject for a different day. The last one I want to do before we jump to the next segment is Bryce Harper. Everyone seems to have an opinion about Bryce Harper. Look, I think Bryce Harper's a very good baseball player. Had the injury last year, which kept them out for a while. What is Big Shot Rob's take as a baseball expert on Bryce Harper?
I love the kid to death, but he does so much abuse to his body, Joe. The way he plays the outfield, the way he plays his game in general. You see him when he steals bases, the head first slides, what he does to his body, and... You know what? Yes, I like him at number 4. Yes, you know what? He did take a drop in his numbers. But point in effect, the knee was really bad last year. That was his biggest issue. Coming back this season, I expect his numbers to be higher. Hopefully maybe 20 home runs, Joe, 80 RBIs about for him. That should be normal numbers. But you know what? I'm keeping him at my number 4. I love the way he plays the outfield. I love his game in general.
I mean, that's the thing is, I think even for people who would want him to tone it down, I don't think he can tone it down. There's some guys who just play like that. That's the way they play, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. I mean, look, has he got into some shouting matches with Matt Williams before? Yes. But when Matt Williams took Jordan Zimmerman off the mound when they should have won that game, I kind of don't buy into the Matt Williams thing as much. I kind of like the guy. I like the way that he plays. I think most importantly, it's good for baseball. 2 of the names on this list are Yasiel Puig and then Bryce Harper. Baseball needs to embrace the Bryce Harpers and the Yasiel Puigs because the biggest disconnect right now is the younger demographics. Kids our age, lower than our age really, they're just not watching baseball. Now, a lot of part of it is the game is too slow and they don't have the attention span for it. But a lot of it is, too, that baseball doesn't do a good job of marketing these guys, putting Mike Trout's face all over the place, putting Bryce Harper's face all over the place. I think it's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest mistakes that they make.
Yeah, Joe, it really changed. Going back to when me and you were kids, remember growing up, we got the loyalty of getting to watch Jason Giambi in pinstripes, Alfonso Soriano, A-Rod when he first came before the whole steroid scandal, Ken Griffey Jr. was the face of baseball, Adam Dunn when he was really great with the Reds. So, I mean, we got to see some amazing stuff. Ichiro Suzuki, you remember him? He was phenomenal when we were younger. One of the best players, and if he had started his career earlier with MLB, probably would have been one of the best players ever. Probably would have won a championship with another team and not stayed with Seattle for so long. But, I mean, we grew up in a time where we had so many faces in baseball. Chipper Jones, we had everybody, and that was the highlight. We knew every single All-Star. I remember growing up as a kid, I knew all the major All-Stars on each team. And now it's like, I guess since they retired, it changed. Like, as you said, it's not marketed properly. Mike Trout should be everywhere. Mike Trout is probably the next Derek Jeter of our generation.
No question.
A kid who loves the game, plays his heart out, and you know what? Amazing, but he's not marketed properly, and that's the biggest problem. You want to get viewers, you got to make it the way me and you had it. Me and you had everything. We got to see what we wanted. We got to see the right All-Stars, and now we got to see them make the face for these new guys coming up.
You do. I mean, especially, look at Mike Trout. We were just talking about this off the air. If Miguel Cabrera doesn't have as equally or better seasons, Mike Trout's got 3 MVPs in a row. The kid's like, 22, 23 years old? Mm-hmm. You might have one of the most transcendent players in baseball history. You've got to use it. You've got to exploit it. I mean, if I need a reason to watch baseball, I'm watching when Mike Trout's playing. I'm watching when Clayton Kershaw's pitching. You need to market those guys better. I think that's one of the biggest things, but we're about 11 minutes into this one. Want to get into the center field and the left field, so we will be right back. We'll reshift. Stay with us.